Good Friday evening, everyone. We made it to Friday. Felt like a long week out there, but we're finally back. I'm student meteorologist Matt Reagan.
And I'm student meteorologist Kate Nagel.
We've got a great forecast for you this weekend. Beautiful weather to get outside. Definitely going to be great.
Yeah, sunny skies, warm temperatures up in the 90s. So it's definitely good. Get outside, enjoy that weather.
Yeah, I think beach day is definitely going to be the focus this weekend.
Beach day.
You heading outside this weekend?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to be going to McClay Gardens. So that'll be fun. Are you doing anything?
I think I'm going to try to make my way outside. I might go maybe do some flying tomorrow.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Got to enjoy the weather while it's still nice before it gets too cold.
Yeah, too cold. I'm not a huge fan of the too cold, but
I like staying inside when it's cold.
Yeah, exactly. But we're not talking about anything cool anytime soon.
No.
It's going to be rather hot tomorrow, but that's why those pool and beach days are going to be great.
It's going to be great. So, and we're going to be filled with all of that information.
Oh yeah, for the next 30 minutes, we'll give you comprehensive forecasts. We've got your game tonight. It's also game day.
Yes. Game day, go Seminoles.
Yeah, we're taking on Boston College tonight up in Chestnut Hills, Massachusetts.
I wonder how their temperatures are.
We'll have to see later on in the game. I know we got a great forecast for you coming up.
Yep. And so I think we're going to do an overview, just give you what's going to go on for the rest of this show, and Zach's going to take that out for us.
Yes, I am. As you can see out west, not much to talk about. Pretty clear skies, not even a cloud in the sky out west. The main factor that we continue to watch is that low pressure system associated with a kind of stalled front. It stalled over the Florida Peninsula earlier today, began to move and get its act together. That's going to begin to push out. National Hurricane Center saying maybe an area of disturbance we'll have to watch over the next few days. We'll have that breakdown coming up. Temperatures, we're sitting around 87 in Tallahassee right now, 83 at St. Mark's, 78 at Carabel, and 82 at Apalachicola. These temperatures are pretty warm, you may think, but they're only going to get warmer. We'll have the breakdown on that, as well as tonight's forecast. Partly cloudy, just an isolated shower, mainly from that cold front, or excuse me, that trough of low pressure out to the east, providing a few showers as you head on out. Celebrate your game day wherever you're going. Isolated showers possible. Then that clear weekend ahead, we'll break that down, as well as those above average temperatures in just a little bit. For now, we send it back to the desk with Matt and Kate.
Thanks, Zach. And it really does look like we're going to have great weather for this weekend.
It's going to be a beautiful weekend out there. I'm really excited about that. But one piece of news we do want to bring up is the earthquake in Chile that happened a couple days ago.
Yeah, and it was a magnitude of 8.3. So it was really big, and there's a lot of devastation, unfortunately. I do know that there were tsunami warnings for most of the Pacific, if not all of the Pacific. Yeah, typically when an earthquake happens like that on the fault line down in South America, you tend to see some tsunami warnings and watches be posted for all of the surrounding continents across the entire Pacific Basin, including Hawaii. Yes, Hawaii even got one, and I don't think Hawaii actually recorded anything big and no large surges from that. Thankfully. Thankfully we didn't see anything too big here in the States, but right now we don't have anything to worry about here in terms of earthquakes, but we're going to bring it back locally for our first local with Shane.
Thanks, guys. We don't have to worry about earthquakes, and for the most part we don't have to worry about the weather either. We had largely clear skies today, just a few high clouds that showed up on our satellite today. The only rain to notice is a few pop-up showers in Madison and especially in Taylor County in the Perry area. But in the capital right now, we're sitting high and dry. And by high, I mean the temperature. It's 87 degrees in the capital right now, 85 in Wilma, 86 in Bainbridge. So it's really quite warm across the Big Bend, and that's reflected in the heat indices. Based on the dew point and the current air temperature, this is what it feels like outside right now. Feels like 92 in the capital, feels like 90 in Bainbridge, and 88 in Thomasville. So we are definitely feeling the heat on this Friday afternoon. The winds right now are coming, for the most part, out of the northeast. They're being directed around a low pressure center that's off there to our east. And so there's moving that moist air over our region. I just ran across the campus and it felt really muggy out there, so we are definitely not in the low humidity conditions that would be better to see with clear skies. But as for what's going to happen over the next few hours, let me get out of the way so we can see where all the action is. This is that low pressure center I talked about, and the dotted line is a trough, which means a large area of low pressure draped across the peninsula of Florida, which is bringing them a lot more cloud cover and rainfall than we saw here in the Panhandle today, and much more than we'll see this weekend. We're calling for clear skies from sunrise tomorrow morning. Clouds should not be a factor in the forecast, so it's going to be a beautiful Saturday. It's also going to be very warm, though. We're talking about above average temperatures in the low to mid 90s. So let's just say that the last weekend of summer will be appropriately hot. And then come Monday, we'll be watching this cold front as it begins to creep closer to our area. And by Sunday evening, it could be knocking on our doorstep, so we might see building clouds with increased chances of rain to follow. Stay tuned for the 7-day, and we'll break that down for everyone. But as for tonight, we're looking at a low of 71 degrees in Tallahassee, 70 in Quincy, and 67 in Bainbridge. Only a 10% chance of rain across the region. So if you're headed out this evening to watch the game at a local restaurant, for instance, take your umbrellas because you don't want to get caught in the rain running from the parking lot into the building. As for the Saturday tomorrow, like we said, beautiful conditions starting at 72 degrees at sunrise, climbing into the lower 90s by the late afternoon. So it's going to be a gorgeous day to get outside. We highly encourage it, though. Break out the sunscreen and the light clothing because everyone's going to need it. After that, we're going to see increased chances of rain next week as temperatures begin to drop off with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Now we're going to take a look around the southeast with Matt.
All right, thank you, Shane. We're going to broaden our view just a little bit here and look at what's going across the rest of the southeast because it's beautiful here now, but there are parts of the southeast that really don't look as nice, and that's because of mainly this whole area of low pressure we were talking about just a little bit ago. This is a disturbance that the National Hurricane Center is watching for possible development over the next couple of days. Luckily, this is moving on out of our area, could bring a couple isolated showers or two as it moistens up the environment just a little bit. But nothing too crazy here. It's actually going to be a beautiful weekend. And that's going to be the story of the rest of the show, is the beautiful weekend that we do have on tap. Here's our current lightning strikes across the peninsula. As we focused on before, the storms are mainly centered over South Florida today, how it was yesterday. We did see a couple of confirmed tornado reports in South Florida. An EF0 tornado was confirmed in Pembroke Pines, Florida the other day. So a couple moist showers down here. The drought conditions that South Florida did see, they're no more. They're getting plenty of rain, and they're seeing some wonderfully needed rainfall down in South Florida. Let's look at the current conditions across the southeast, because this surely tells the story with the sunshine all around. Also the high temperatures. Shreveport, you're looking at 93 degrees. In Little Rock, you're the hot spot on the map at 95. Tallahassee, 87, and pretty much on autopilot the rest of the state. 87 Orlando, 85 in Miami. Let's look at that current humidity values. This is what moisture content is in the atmosphere, and you can really see across the peninsula where we saw that disturbance hanging around where the humidity values do increase, and then all that dry air in the back, that's where those humidity values have decreased. And here it is, the battle between the moist air in the green and the dry air in the orange. The battle wages on today, as well as across our area, and it's really going to cause for some beautiful conditions this weekend. I'm going to head up flying because it's going to be so nice out there, so it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Futurecast rainfall, let's set this one into motion as we move into our day tomorrow. A couple of isolated showers possible. Mainly the brunt of it's going to be across the peninsula, as we saw before. Right behind my head, that's where that low pressure system is going to get on out of our way and head on out to the Atlantic. Maybe cause some showers or two up in the Carolinas and across the eastern seaboard. And then tonight's forecast looking like this. Beautiful night, 69 degrees. It's going to be rather clear. Look at this, 77 in Miami. That's absolutely beautiful. And the Keys, near 80 degrees. And let's look at tomorrow because much of the same. Going to be hot, hot, hot across the area, but going to be beautiful sunny conditions. But those hot temperatures, they're going to start breaking here soon, getting ready for fall.
Fall, yes, cooler temperatures and a lot of fall foliage, which I know some parts of America are actually starting to see those fall colors up in the North Massachusetts.
Yeah, you're so excited you can't even
I'm
speak.
so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I love fall.
Fall is right around the corner. Parts of Minnesota are seeing the leaves change, and boy, I can't wait until the cooler temperatures come.
It's going to be great, and all fall favorite things. There's pumpkin picking and going there, corn mazes, which are always fun, and Halloween.
Of course, Halloween.
Love
We
Halloween.
can't forget about Halloween. What's your favorite part of fall?
I don't know. It's the nice clothing, and the fall leaves are always pretty to look at, and I don't know, I just love it all.
Well, that's pretty much it. We're fall conditions not really coming around very soon here, but maybe in our forecast later on we'll see it. And Casey, we're going to be looking across the rest of the country for a national.
Yeah, that's right, Matt. Let's go ahead and get into the tropics first off. We'll start off with a little tease of what's going on out there, and we have a system just off the Florida coast that we're monitoring. It has a 40% chance to develop within the next 5 days, 20% chance within the next 2 days. So it's something to monitor, but we're expecting this to move out toward the north and east and not really impact any place in the United States. Could have some marine impacts on the South and North Carolina coast, however. Now, we do have a couple systems that are designated by the Hurricane Center right now as tropical depressants. First off, tropical depressant number 9. This says 30-mile-an-hour winds here. We are watching this very closely. This 30-mile-an-hour system is moving up toward the west-northwest at 5 miles an hour, a pretty slow mover as it does so here. We're not really expecting this one to have too big of an impact in toward any areas. It's just going to impact marine areas and maybe even dissipate by the time we get into Sunday. However, tropical depressant number 10, a little bit more worth watching. We're seeing that it has 35-mile-an-hour winds, and it's moving off here toward the northwest at about, or west-northwest at about 7 miles an hour, so it is, again, worth monitoring as it at least does move in toward the Atlantic. There's a good chance, though, that it will turn as it gets further north in toward the Atlantic basin. Now, current conditions across our nation at this hour, we do see 87 in Tallahassee. Temperatures toward the North Core, though, 82 Atlanta, 79 in Kansas City, and a bit of a taste of fall already in toward areas like Salt Lake City, 65 there, 66 in Seattle. Cool conditions in those communities. Now, satellite and radar, well, we do see some Saturday and thunderstorms. There's even a severe weather threat here in the Midwest that we'll get into in some of our local radar tours. Severe thunderstorm warning in Oklahoma in the yellow. Some flooding advisories and warnings as well, as these conditions have been noted in parts of Kansas and Missouri and parts of Illinois and Wisconsin as well. Now, our radar tour across our nation, though, we see that there are some showered and thunderstorms impacting the southeast. Now, in the south central, we see that there are some showers around Oklahoma City as well as down toward here south of Phoenix. We're talking some moisture coming in to parts of Arizona and New Mexico, northwest. It's pretty clear in that area. Nice weather conditions. However, we are tracking some strong storms here. A tornado warning in effect for another 4 or 5 minutes in toward the Chicago area, parts of Cook and Will County. This storm moving to the east, so it does bear watching very closely. Tornado warning in effect. Funnel clouds even have been reported with that storm. Now tonight, though, expecting 69 here, but again, that taste of fall. Much cooler conditions off to the northwest, 43 in Denver, 47 Salt Lake City, 47 in Billings. And now, first look at that game day forecast, game night forecast. We'll have it again throughout this show here a couple more times if you miss it. But 75 against Boston College tonight in Chestnut Hill. Nice football weather, nice conditions for the game. Right now, they'll go ahead and take it over. Now to Ulises for your second local forecast.
All right, thanks, Casey. Right now, locally in Tallahassee, it's been a beautiful Friday. Right now at 87 degrees with those partly cloudy skies. That humidity's down at 55%. And definitely with those winds coming out of the northeast at 7 miles per hour has definitely felt it a lot more comfortable for this time of the year. Temperatures all throughout the Big Bend, very pleasant, close to average for this time of the year. A lot of 80s all throughout. The only exception right now is actually Perry. It's into the 70s. That's due to some of the precipitation that's going on associated with that low pressure just off the Atlantic past Jacksonville. The rest of the radar, as you can see, very quiet for the western portions of the Big Bend, but definitely in the eastern sections, a couple of those sprinkles just pounding over the area of Perry. So just watch out if you're driving on US 27 and US 19 where that collision happens in Perry. Just remember to give yourself some extra minutes driving. The rest of the southeast, very beautiful, like mentioned earlier. All that dry humidity, that high pressure just dominating majority of the southeast and will be intact for this weekend. However, temperatures are going to begin to climb. The low pressure that's just off the coast of the Atlantic over Florida, 20% chance of development in the next 48 hours, 40% in the next 5 days. It's definitely going to be more of a maritime issue, especially off the coast of the Carolinas. Small craft advisories are in effect from Daytona Beach all the way up to Cape Hatteras, and also rip currents. Watch out for that all throughout this weekend, folks. So just remember to swim parallel if you're going to go out into those waters, and also remember to wear sunscreen overall just throughout the whole southeast with those bright sunny skies. The Futurecast breaks down for the next 48 hours. That low pressure begins to push further and further towards the east, And with that, we'll begin to see a lot more sunshine for our Saturday, and those temperatures are really going to continue to climb going into our Saturday afternoon into the low 90s. But Sunday will even be hotter. The sizzle is definitely on, so it's a great day just to stay indoors and watch the NFL football, especially on Sunday with those temperatures climbing into the mid-90s. But definitely a funnel system will bring us back to normal for this time of the year by the time we go into our Monday, and we expect a slight chance of showers, especially for Sunday night, and especially when we get back to work on our Monday routine. On the beaches, however, just remember to have that sunscreen handy. Winds out of the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The water's at 82 degrees, so definitely a warm one. Just remember to have that sunscreen handy. 71 degrees for tonight. Any isolated showers that we do see will be affected mostly in our eastern areas. By the time we go into tomorrow afternoon, 91 degrees, mostly sunny. Definitely slightly above average for this time of the year. Chestnut Hill near the Boston area, 75-degree weather for tonight. Great day just to watch the game at a restaurant. And just remember also it's National Cheeseburger Day here in the U.S., so it's a good time to watch that and just eat it today with a great game. And for the next 7 days, overall pleasant weather overall. Just remember a slight chance of showers as we begin our work week, but overall temperatures begin to die down back to normal. And now I'm going to go back to the desk, and me and Tyler are actually going to talk about India and just how the weather over there is getting a lot more stormier.
Yes, this is the time of year where areas in India have to deal with the monsoon season, with the moist air coming in from the south towards the Indian Ocean into India.
Definitely, the monsoon right now, it's definitely going to help out for India. Definitely, they're actually under a rain deficit right now. It was first affecting the system over eastern India, but now the heaviest rain will be over the western portions, over Mumbai.
Yeah, Mumbai is one of the largest cities in India, and they might actually get 6 inches of rain. I can't imagine how impactful that would be because of how many people that live there.
Yes, just the flooding issues are just a big concern, and it's also going to extend all the way up to the north as well, up to as far north as Nepal, where the precipitation could last until Tuesday with 4 inches of rain. However, we're going to send it over now to Kate with a closer look at the Sunshine State.
Thanks, guys. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of clear skies for us right now. But as we look over to the east, there is a lot of that rain and moisture over in Jacksonville, which is part of that low that we're seeing over the Atlantic that's moving through. And it's even bringing a lot of showers for the south, such as Miami and Palm Beach area. But as we do water vapor, though, right now, you can actually see all this moisture that's a part of that system right now. And as that's pushing out, we're seeing a lot of dry air, this orange, which is going to be giving us those really nice temperatures and conditions for into this weekend. Sunny skies, hardly any rain, and it's going to be really nice to get out and enjoy that weather. Current temperatures right now, we're sitting at 87. 87 here in Tallahassee right now, so staying pretty warm. 88 in Marianna, a little bit warmer in Crestview and Pensacola at 90 degrees, but over to our east, we're seeing a little bit cooler temperatures, 84 degrees in Cross City, 81 in Valdosta. Current conditions, though, around the area of state of Florida, 79 Palm Beach, a little cooler, even 77 for Jacksonville, and that's because of those showers that they were getting today, which cooled them down a bit. 87 again for us, 90 Pensacola, 87 for Orlando. So really seeing those 80s all around, except for the few areas that did get those rain chances today. Those winds, though, not seeing too much. 7 in Tallahassee. It's going southwest, and we're seeing kind of mixed around. Nothing's really too bad except in Key West, where they're seeing 14 miles per hour, which is about the most wind that we're seeing. Radar, though, for us here, just a few pop-up scattered showers, really nothing to worry about. There's no lightning, nothing too severe, but again, have that umbrella if you are going out tonight, just in case there is something that does pop up. Scooting down into central Florida, just a bit in Vero, Palm Beach are getting those storms again. That's from that system that's going out into the Atlantic. And if we go again down to Miami, we can see where we did see some stronger storms in Palm Beach, Miami, as usual from all that rain, which they are, as it's moving out, they won't be seeing too much anymore as that system does go out. Futurecast, seeing all that rain. A lot of the rain stays off to the coast. Really, we're going to be seeing really beautiful temperatures and weather for us here in Tallahassee and the rest of Florida as that system does move out. And for tonight's forecast, though, seeing really nice mild temperatures, 69 for us here in Tallahassee and 76 in Tampa, 77 Miami. So it does get a little bit warmer as we go down into South Florida. And for tomorrow, really nice temperatures again. 93 degrees in Tallahassee, very nice and warm, sunny skies. Make it down into Central Florida though. 88 Orlando, 89 Tampa, and even as we go farther south, 91 Palm Beach, 91 Miami. So it'll be a bit warmer and a little bit more cloudy with those chances of rain again, but really nice temperatures all around. And I know everyone should definitely get out, but right now I'm going to give this to Zach Covey for our sports.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? I'm Zach Covey. We start tonight with a look at the number 9 ranked Florida State Seminoles, taking on a beneath the lights game on Friday night. We're playing the Boston College Eagles up in Chestnut Hill, so let's see the last time FSU played the Eagles. That was back in 2013 up in Chestnut Hill, and that game, well, it wasn't the prettiest. Florida State trailed Boston College 17-3 late in the first half of the game before the quarterback Jameis Winston connected to wide receiver, wait for it, my neighbor, Kenny Shaw, with a 55-yard Hail Mary pass. Florida State took the lead at half and ran away with that game, never looking back, 48-34. But this time, the Eagles are riding on a different momentum of a different tune. Now, if you're superstitious, listen up. It was last year on week 3 that number 9 USC came into Chestnut Hill to take on the Boston College Eagles in a Friday night under the lights matchup. It was this week that they would leave Boston with their first loss of the season. So here we are, week 3. FSU ranked number 9, playing at Boston on a Friday night. Scared yet? Don't be too much. Boston College has put up some impressive numbers, especially last week's 76-0 victory over Howard, in which the Eagles put up 41 points in the first quarter alone. Now, the Eagles didn't even put up 41 points in a single game last season. And so while their points per game, points allowed per game, and even their rush defense continues to put up impressive numbers, we note that it's been against 2 FCS teams in Howard and Maine. But Florida State running on the Dalvin Cook train can't be the only offensive weapon the Seminoles depend on tonight. Now, don't get me wrong, Dalvin Cook is a monster when it comes to offensive production. We saw that last week against USF, where Dalvin, for the first time since Seminole running back Sammy Smith in 1988, ran for over 200 yards, which is the second most rushing yards by an FSU running back in a single game. Clearly making his case for the Heisman, but FSU needs to rely on quarterback Everett Golson. If he shows up like he did last week in the first half of USF, the Seminoles may need to be worried. But Golson wrote the wrong in the second half. He only completed 1 of 9 passes in the first half after starting 0 of 6. And look at these numbers compared to 13 of 17 in the second. The passing yards grew tremendously from 6 to 157, and in turn, so did the point totals, putting up 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals in the second half. Point being, if Golson can nix the slow start and the defense can play hard, especially against the rush of the Eagles, Florida State stands a good chance of keeping the scares to a minimum. Switching gears real fast, FSU takes on number 18 ranked Texas A&M tonight in Tully Gym. Go out, support your women's volleyball team. Also, one more thing, huge congrats to FSU soccer team and head coach Mark Kerkorian, who won 6-0 up in Greensboro. For him, he knots his 200th win at FSU. That's it. Finally, remember, those kickers, they deserve some love in the Heisman race too. We send it on back to the desk with Ulises and Tyler.
Thank you, Zach. And I'm really excited for that game. The game starts at 8 o'clock. It was actually going to be the first game the entire year where there isn't a chance of rain.
That's great news, but also when it comes to the Northeast, where they're actually playing tonight, the fall foliage is actually becoming now a real question for this time of the year.
Yes, actually, in the Northeast, this is one of the warmest Septembers on record. And September is usually the first part of the year where we're concerned with foliage coming down.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely the warm temperatures, the records have already been shattered throughout this month, are just preventing for those leaves to begin to change their colors, which is sightseers really a big part of their tourism industry as we go into October. Mm-hmm. And also there's even forecasting that even the first half of October could also be really warm, so that could even stunt it even further.
Yes, the jet stream is digging down very far in the west, and that's why you saw how cold it was over in the northwest, but it's still warmer in the northeast. But now we're going to send it back over to John.
Yeah, not quite records out there today for us, but still warm, 87 degrees. Dew point is a function of the moisture in the air at 69 degrees. I'll have more on that in a second. Local temperatures across the Big Bend hovering in mostly the mid-80s, even have a few upper 80s out there, Marietta and Tallahassee, but coast a little cooler in the low 80s, 81 degrees in Carabel right now. Dew points, again, had more on this later. 69 Tallahassee, really muggy in Monticello, 77 degrees. This is a function of the low-level moisture coming in from that low-pressure system sitting off the Atlantic coast, which is making us feel quite hot out there when you combine the actual air temperature. What is dew point? It's the temperature the air would have to cool down to if pressure is constant and moisture remains constant to reach saturation levels. Now, the reason it feels so brutal and humid once this dew point gets above 70 degrees is because moisture is not able to be perspired and evaporated off your skin as easily, which is what actually cools down the human body. But again, once we get down lower than that, the cooling rate is much easier, so we're much cooler and much more comfortable with those lower dew point values. Satellite radar, again, low-level moisture, a few lonely showers across Perry and Taylor County right now. Wouldn't expect much for us, Tallahassee, but you can never rule out an isolated shower with these moisture conditions prevailing in the lower levels. Going into the next couple days, temperatures warm up over the weekend, up into the middle 90s for Saturday and Sunday for us. But sunny conditions across the entire Big Bend, slightly cooler down near the coast as they won't heat up quite as much as we will further inland. But the lows staying about what they have been the last week or so, only reaching about into the middle to lower 70s, just like tonight. Slight chance of rain at 10%, only getting down to around 71 degrees, partly cloudy. Not too bad, especially if we're going out and watching those Florida State Seminoles take on Boston College, as we've been talking about all night tonight. Great night to be out there. Really, it really is a spectacular night for game day. Again, tomorrow, though, nice morning, few clouds, warm, but we're used to it. It's still technically summer out there. But for Boston College up there in Massachusetts, they are very comfortable right now. 75 degrees, great football weather for our boys from Florida State and Tallahassee. Going into next week, rain chances pick up a little bit with an incoming cold front, and temperatures start to decline going into the middle of next week. And we swing it back to the desk with Ulises and Tyler.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Actually, today, it's Friday. It's also National Cheeseburger Day, and the fact that the game is on, is just something to talk about. Just to go to your favorite establishment and just watch.
Get a cheeseburger.
Get a cheeseburger.
Yeah, and it's actually going to be pretty warm for the rest of the weekend. The high-pressure center is going to move over, really bringing in that sinking air, and that's why we're going to go up to the middle 90s.
Yeah, so definitely remember to have that water handy because you're definitely going to need it with that sunscreen. But overall, the weather is going to be pretty decent throughout the next work week as well.
Rain chances are pretty low. Now, cloud cover comes back next week, which will make it a little bit cooler, with highs only in the middle 80s. But you can always like us on Facebook.com/FSU Weather. Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter, and just remember to watch us anytime on livestream.com/FSU Weather, and just send us any pictures and videos. And just remember, I'm meteorologist Ulises Garcia.
And I'm student meteorologist Tyler Harten. Had a great weekend, and go Noles. Hopefully they can beat Boston College.
And eat burgers tonight. Good night.